guys, it's Jack from Cowbell Farms. Welcome. I'm about to walk down here and it is July the 5th. So I'm gonna walk down to the garden and just see what it looks like in July. But I just wanted to show you all these beautiful trees all in bloom in my yard. Crepe myrtles. This one's not blooming yet, but these Mexican petunias, they are so high. They're like 4 foot high and absolutely gorgeous. We need to cut the grass already again. There's some drift roses and also some more Mexican petunias over here. And Roger growing in the background. This was a huge cedar tree that got broke in a storm years ago. And so I left the stump there and just planted around it. And it's got random things. It's got some forsythia, some Mexican petunias. It's got a camellia tree here. It's got some drift roses down here. Some more forsythia, some more Mexican petunias. And it's not in bloom. It's already dried up. But this is like a bee balm that grows here. And then I have one of my favorites is my little mullein patch over here. It's not very big right now, mostly because my husband keeps mowing it down. You can see all the little babies trying to grow in the grass here, and he just can't help himself with the weed eater. It feels really good out here right now. It's about to rain in just a little while. This is just the outskirts of the garden edge. We have some roses on this arbor here. Some salvia. This is just some roses, but we also have a rose hedge that goes around this little garden area. I've got to come out here and get these guys in a little bit before the rain comes. I still have these zucchini plants, but they don't seem to be producing, so I'm about to pull them up and replant some more. They kind of slowed down. They're producing really, really slowly, but I'm also surprised I've never had them last this long, but maybe because I planted so many. I have 4 out of, I think I had 10 over here of zucchinis. And I've got some basil tucked in there behind my tomatoes. Some more Mexican petunias, a little rose bush, beautiful sunflowers, more sunflowers, more sunflowers. This is a tomato trellis also, just different kinds. I grow them different ways, different directions. These Brandywine yellow tomatoes have been one of my all-time favorites. I absolutely love them. And you can tell it's getting hot here in central Alabama because the tomatoes start to struggle a little bit this time of year when it starts to get really hot. Even the buds are sometimes drying up before they actually even develop into a fruit. But that was because we were in a drought for so long. Like we went 2 months almost without any rain. And I watered the best that I could, but it is really hard to keep up with it when there's just absolutely no rain. And there's marigolds planted all in the middle of these. And the strawberries, well, they're still putting out a little bit. There's one. They're still putting on some fruit here. I just weeded these beds the other day, so they look really nice. I want to show you these. They're called salmon, and they are a beautiful orangish, that's what I meant to say, zinnia. And these are, this bed is full of like wild rutabaga from the side of the road. This patch right here grew back from a few that I grew last year, but this is like a jungle. And for those of you who do not know or have never planted tarragon, I just want to show y'all this little tarragon bush that I put in last year. What on earth? It has taken up the entire bed, plus it's laying over into my tomato bed. I had no idea that this stuff was this spready. I mean, I guess it's not a bad thing to have if you're going to spread something, is spice. But, I mean, who uses that much tarragon? Some more zinnias, and there are some yarrow stuck in there, and that is a pineapple sage that's over there. Sorry about my shadow. This is the green bean tunnel, and I know I've posted several videos on this. I also thought that the squash would be done by now, and I'm still getting squash. Never have I ever gotten squash this late in the season ever before. There's some more of those salmon zinnias, which I thought were going to be a little more pink. There's still blooms all over this. The problem is they're all on the top and outside, so it's really hard for me to get to it. But it's nice and beautiful and shady underneath. See, there's blooms here. There's a lot of blooms coming on. So we're gonna get a lot more beans here really soon. Because this is a lot of blooms coming on. I'm so excited to get another round. They kind of stopped for a little bit because I haven't gotten any in a week or so because they just quit producing, and now we're getting lots and lots more buds. So I'm super excited about that. We might get another run at this, and hopefully, super exciting. I didn't think it would put this many blooms back out. This is a rose bush that's kind of dry, but this is my Mexican sunflower. And this thing gets extremely big, and it will, this is Rogue. It just came back from last year. So we just let it be. And, I mean, it didn't grow here. I moved it over here. It was actually in a very inconvenient place because this thing gets so big, probably 10 or 12 feet tall and up to 5 or 6 foot wide sometimes. So it was in an inconvenient place, so I moved it out here. And we had a little tree that I planted, a little poplar tree, and it died. I'm pretty sure from the drought. Chamomile's finishing up. It's about done. I need to come out and harvest some of these little dry flower tops and put them up for next year and sprinkle some in this bed because that's what I'm going to use it again for. This one had German chamomile in it, which is already done for the season, and the seeds are already spread. I'm going to get that morning glory out of there before it spreads everywhere. This whole area right here, I'm hoping to put in different sized beds and do my little tea garden. This is our well house where our well water comes from, and we just had to replace the pump, so I'm gonna show you a couple pictures. I'll just overlap those of us working on the pump the other day. Nothing major. I didn't film any of the work. I just took a few pictures so you could see what an 80-foot well pump looks like. There's another squash plant with a squash the size of Texas back there that I somehow missed. Probably because I haven't been out here in a few days since it's been under a vacation. Sort of, my husband's been off for 10 days. These are the cherry tomatoes. That's my son leaving to go to work. Let me get over my gate. This is my inside garden beds that are all fenced in. And we have some catnip over here going to seed. I have mums tucked here and there all throughout. And something, a frog or something, has built this little home over here. See all this dirt kicked out. It's freshly kicked out dirt. But I'm about 90% that that's a toad hole. Most likely. Little toad living there. There's another, those are some of the more of those Mexican sunflowers that volunteered over here, which is perfectly fine with me. This is like the rogue jungle garden over here with, geez, these are probably 10 or 12 foot high. That one's probably 12 to 15 foot high of sunflowers, and these just grow back every year. They just reseed themselves and grow back. But I love these multi-headed sunflowers, and this one has like tiny little heads on it. Let's see if I can get over here and show you. Look at the tiny little heads on this thing. There are bigger ones, but I love the tiny ones as well. And we have a few clematises tucked here and there along the fence line. This one's actually planted way over there, but it's made its way all the way to the fence. Some more mums and sunflowers. We have basil that I need to harvest off of again to keep it from going to seed again. So I'm probably going to come out here and lop off some of this. And this is lemon thyme, which I love to put in my immunity. We got some bachelor buttons here. I'm just gonna step through. And we have some bachelor buttons over here, which I love these flowers so much. Some peppers, varieties of them. These were some at the end of the season that I just plugged in here, and I need to weed. Here's one of my mums that's been here. I want to say these things have been here for at least 3 years. And they come back every year bigger and bigger and bigger. This is lemon basil, which I wish you could smell the aroma off of this lemon basil. It is so divine. It's my carrot bed, which is pretty much just going to seed this year. I just let them all grow for seed so that we could plant again. This is usually also where I plant my sweet potatoes, which we did not get done this year. I didn't have time to do it. This is a lipstick pepper. So it's a red pepper that has got a pretty good thick liner on it. And then we have this long pepper, which I love these because these are kind of hard-walled. They're not like as soft, but they're huge. And these even get bigger than this. It's like a cow pepper, but it's not hot. So we have 2 different varieties of peppers in here. These 2 I'm thinking about pulling out because they're just not thriving. Like this one's dead and that one's not thriving. So I will probably pull those out. I don't know what happened to my dahlia, but it's looking a little worse for the wear right now. I got some lavender tucked in here with some violas. One of my favorites. These moss rock roses are great. I love them so much. There's one of my lemon trees with some lemons coming on. It'll take all the way till the winter for them to turn into a lemon, most likely. At least October. But we have several on these, and these are Meyer lemons. They do better here where it gets kind of cold. It doesn't get too cold here, but these are Shishatsu peppers. And that one's leaning. I need to get me some steaks. And my cucumbers just did not do good. So I bought some more seeds the other day, so I'm going to put some more seeds in. They just did not do, and we're already getting powdery mildew on them. But they were so bitter from the start. I think that last frost that we ended up getting like damaged them a whole lot. This is the headache plant. This is feverfew, so it helps with migraines and pain in general, mostly headache pain, but I use feverfew in my migraine tincture or my headache tincture. It's a great resource. We have some opal basils here, and this is valerian, which I use in a sleep tincture. And I know y'all have seen this beauty, but behold the glory of this sunflower. I can't even begin to tell you how amazing this thing is. I just want to stand beside it and see if I can get a picture, but I don't think that it would even do it justice. My height is 5'5", and I come to below this flower, and it still goes up, 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 up. So this thing is definitely 12, 13 feet tall, and just absolutely stunning. And like I said, this was one I planted several years ago and has just grown back in random places. More peppers, and more peppers. I went a little crazy with the peppers this year. And that's a Lycia pepper over here on the other side. Got some beautiful watermelons growing here. Super excited about these guys. I hope I can harvest them correctly this year and not too early. There's another one over there. Because here in Alabama, these watermelons are like anywhere from $10 to $18, depending on the size. And these Mama Jammas are pretty big, so they're probably more like the $17 variety, and that is way too expensive for me to ever eat a watermelon. I can't afford that. Some bell peppers over here. these are, I think they're supposed to be red, and these are a Cowbell. And mixed in with my peppers over here is Tulsi, which is holy basil. And we use that in the immunities and the teas that I make. I've got some going to seed. I'd like to just trim this down so it'll keep bushing out and keep me plenty of basil throughout the rest of the year to harvest. I've done better this year about harvesting. Usually I forget about it and it goes to seed, and then I'm like, oh man, I forgot to pick that. So if you struggle with that, you're not the only one. These are tomatillos. I've been harvesting a lot of tomatillos this year. I put up probably at least I would say 16 half pints of tomatillo salsa and fresh salsa made with ooh, just walked in a spider web. But this is the tomatillos, and these are the purple tomatillos. And these are my nemesis, leaf-footed bugs, which I absolutely loathe. These banana peppers. And I have a tree growing that I've got to move. I got a poplar tree that I didn't notice was growing over in this little area that I have to move at some point. But moving it is going to be difficult. That's mints over here, and my, what's it called? St. John's wort. Chocolate mint and St. John's wort. And this just shows you how it's so intertwined in here, and it's fine. I don't mind. It can do whatever it wants to do. It can go out in that yard. I don't even mind. But y'all, look at this tree. I definitely totally forgot because it's that big around. So it has been here for a minute, but it was hiding underneath this plant rack. And so I did not know it was there. This is turmeric, and it is doing so fabulous in these buckets. I got my turmeric last year from Haas Tool, and I actually thought that it had died because I forgot to water it some over the winter, and it was inside the greenhouse, and I totally thought it was dead, and then it started sprouting up and has sprouted everywhere. So I'm hoping to actually get a harvest of turmeric this year. Some more of my strawberry beds. I have 4 strawberry beds along the outside, along with a mint patch over here and some random marigolds that reseeded themselves. I'm gonna walk so you can see and here's my plants I gotta put in. I got elderberries that I have got to go in the ground that I just broke off, cut off pieces. And some more plants that I still haven't even planted. I got tomato plants over here still that I haven't planted. And I'm gonna show y'all this. This is embarrassing, but my greenhouse is full of weeds. So I've got to go in here and take care of this. But I wanted y'all to see the garden, how it's kind of set up. This is my medicinal herb garden. I have, like, it's called milkweed, but I use it as pleurisy root. This is wormwood, which again I need to move because it's taken over an entire bed. We have some hyssop down here, some weeds, and echinacea, and baby echinaceas everywhere. I even pulled echinacea out of the walkways this time. I plan to put in some bush beans here And I'm gonna plant some cucumbers on this trellis right here. This is my onion and weed patch, which I have not weeded. We have more bell peppers over here, and there's blooms all over it. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, there we go. You can see those blooms. But I have peppers. I got 2 patches of, like, I believe this is Greek oregano. It's the big leaf oregano. Y'all can tell me if I'm wrong. I have the little bitty oregano over there, but these have massive leaves on them and purple flowers. Beautiful purple flowers that bring in pollinators. Here's the trellis from the inside for the tomatoes that are along the fence line. And those are 8-foot poles, so it goes up 7 foot. And you can see that some of my tomatoes are almost at that 7-foot mark already. Once they get to that 7-foot mark, usually I will just bend them over or let them go up, and then they fall over, and I just start tying them to it, going sideways. We have some more watermelons over here on this plant. Some dahlias. Some more of these salmon zinnias. This is a horseradish plant, and I'm telling you, once you have horseradish, it's always there. These are some pink-eyed purple hull peas that I planted several weeks ago that are coming in, because I like to get my harvest not at the same time I'm getting everything else. I try to stagger it a little so that I'm not overwhelmed with just preserving so much of varieties of stuff. Right now I'm working on tomatoes, and green beans. So I'll come in the morning and make a green bean can, maybe a few pints of that, and there's a baby watermelon. And then be making soap at the same time. And then right now I'm focused on tomatoes. And these are probably my favorite tomato on the planet, and they're spoon tomatoes, and they're so tiny and beautiful, and they taste, oh, so good. So good. You can just eat them by the handfuls. And then there's some random tomatoes over there, along with, here's my archway with my roses. It has a thorn variety of rose that is like this pink, well, it's more peachy, like a peachy color on it, but the ladybanks took over, and so I got a little bit of flowering. Oh, look at this. This is just a rogue lamb's quarter. This has very, very high benefits of nutrition in it. It's a weed, but it is very nutritional. And there's several of these just over here by the gate. It's a spinach replacement, but I think that it has like 10 times the nutritional benefits of spinach in it. And you don't want to eat very much of it because it's high in whatever that stuff is. I forget what it's called. I'm not in the mood to think about it. Then I have these cherry trees here. These are weeping cherries, and they did have cherries on them this year. And I harvested them, but they were very, very tart, which I was expecting. But these weeping cherry trees. I got more mint. This is a spearmint or a wintergreen or something. I don't know. I think it's spearmint though. This basil is going to seed for sure, but we got some pollinators coming in. These are supposed to be Cascade tomatoes, and I thought they would all be like this size, but some of them are tiny, like plum tomatoes. So I don't know what's going on. My tomato seed packets gave me a variety, and then it's so strange that half of them were plum tomatoes in it and everything. So I don't know what happened with the seed companies this year, but there's one that has a hole in it. We'll go ahead and get rid of that. So I'll come back this evening and pick these gorgeous little tiny tomatoes off of these branches. And my greenhouse is at the end where all of my stuff goes in. and I just wanted to come out here to the garden and just give it an overall. I like to come out here every day, and I like to come out at different times of the day so that I notice things that are different. There may be some pests that are present in the mornings. There may be some pests that are present in the evening. I see things from time to time that I've never even seen before. I've seen some insects this year that I actually have never seen before, and that is very cool in a way. Then I have to go look up if they're bad or good, and some of them are bad and some of them have been good, so not complaining about the bad ones when you get the good ones as well. But you have to build these ecosystems, and I've been working on this ecosystem since 2020, redoing this bed. I had a garden out here before that, but we redid the whole thing in 2020. And so it's just been like, I guess technically 21, 22, 23, and then 24. So 4 years I've actually planted in here and am working on that ecosystem. I have found that the leaf-footed bugs are not as bad this year. Well, they're bad. But I have been trying to stay on top of that. But they're not overtaking my tomatoes like they usually do. They tend to rush toward those tomatillos. So when I get tired of tomatillos, then they can just inhabit that plant, which I will still, you know, pick them off in the mornings like I do. I come spray early morning before the sun comes up, like 3 or 4 hours before the sun is like bright. I come out here kind of when it's still dark, and I do an overall, and then I spray some Castile soap and water on the plants, like the bugs on the plants, which makes them come up to the top, and then I pick them off. So I try to stay on top of the insect population by controlling that. If I'm picking off 20 to 30 bugs every day or every other day, then that's staying on top of a population that could easily get out of hand. But yeah, so that's just my little garden, and we can do a little walk out to the vineyard for a second, to my muscadines and scuppidines, and check on them. So we can take a little walk out there and just see what's going on over there on that side. I have a 4-row vineyard, if y'all can see this. There's 10 feet in between each of my rows. And I do believe there are 5 plants on each row. So 10 foot in. There's a scuppidine, so that it has 10 feet to go left and 10 feet to go right. And these guys are beautiful and loaded with grapes. This one is definitely my biggest one out here. And it is so beautiful. So very beautiful. Even down to the ground, they're hanging. And this is a muscadine, which is the purple variety. The scuppidine is a gold variety, and this is a purple variety. We have a mixture between the muscadines and scuppidines. And what happened was some of my scuppidines, they were all scuppidines when I started. I ordered these with, and I have no affiliation, but I got these from Nursery in Georgia. And I ordered the plants, I think they were $16 a piece. And then some of them didn't make it through. And so they replaced them with some more. So they actually are extremely good, but this one's already reaching 10 feet and going beyond. And it's going 10 feet that way. So it's beautiful. And I've only had these planted I planted them in the fall of 2022, maybe 2021. I'll have to go back and check exactly, and I'll put the date on here, but I'm thinking it was 2021 or 2022. So they haven't been here this long to have this much fruit on them. And unusually strange. There's all my henny girls over there, and Roger. Usually we harvest elderberries in September, and I would like to know if anyone else has fully ripe elderberries in July, because I feel like normally I'm harvesting and picking 2 months from now, and these are already so ripe that the birds have pretty much picked them off completely. And it's like a jungle out here. These guys are so tall. I love it. I've got some new ones coming up down here. But does anybody else have out of season things? I feel like everything has been 2 weeks to a month faster developing this year than any other time. It's so strange. Just show y'all a little bit. There's my beautiful little log cabin house without rails on the front that we've got to put up because we have an almost 8-month-old grandbaby, and we've got to get rails up before she starts walking around. But I have these beautiful trees and plants and banana trees and calla lily. And these are a tropical plant, which pretty much looks like turmeric. It's in the ginger family. And I'm gonna move some of my ginger up here, my turmeric up here, and plant it over there, just to see if it does the same thing as here, because if it will come back every year like these do, which I'm sure it will, because these come back every year. This is a banana forest over here. And no, we don't actually get bananas. Actually, I get bananas on these trees. I do get bananas on the trees, but they don't ever, it's not hot enough for long enough for them to actually develop into anything. And then I have the star clematis growing on this old gazebo trellis. And I'm sorry about all that noise in the back. Annoying girls. And then we have our little orchard over here. Berry patches and orchard. With apple trees, plum trees, crabapple trees, blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries. There's another plum tree up there. We can walk out here and just look at them. While we're walking around, we might as well cover all the bases. These are raspberries, and it's so humid here that I mostly am growing these for the leaves. I gotta come out here and harvest them before they get too much. These are morning glories that I need to pull up because they're gonna be everywhere. There was a few berries. We get a few berries. Like these are putting on some berries. So I might get a few raspberries. But as far as a major crop, here's a little crop of coming on of raspberries. Whoa, this is more raspberries than I've seen on here. Maybe those 2 years of like major cold frost actually helped these guys because they like a little bit cooler weather. I'm hoping that it doesn't get so hot that it damages them, but this one has a lot of raspberries on it. And this has got to go. Like, I've got to redo this whole thing. I want to take these panels down, I'm pretty sure, and I don't know what's wrong. Look at this. These blackberries need to be all torn up and go. Although this one, look at the size of these things. These are a thornless one. Birds are getting them. It's a thornless variety through here, but they need to be clipped and cut and pruned, and they've just been super neglected. But this is a major, huge variety of blackberry with weeds. And then we have our blueberry bushes, which are done for the year with blueberries. There's a few stragglers that I just leave for the birds. Our crabapple tree, though, is loaded with crabapples. All the way up. I mean, there's no way I could ever get all of those. If you've never had pickled crabapples, and by pickled crabapples, I mean salt brined crabapples in the refrigerator, you are missing out. We have some figs. Some little figs down in there. My one fig tree. This thing's been struggling because of the cold weather. And I need to get out here and prune it and do some work on it, but nah. We still haven't got our fences up yet for our goats. But I would like to walk up here and just look around. I try to come up to the, I've been kind of like letting them be for the last month or so. But my honeybees. They're pretty. I need to clean this up so I can cut grass over here. I don't want to get too close and bother them. I'm not suited up or anything, so I really don't feel like getting stung again today. I haven't been stung by them. I got stung by a red wasp the other day. But they're so sweet. So far. So far. We do have some apples this year. There's a few apples on this one. There's a few apples on this one. And this is the old tree. It's been here for, I don't even know, 20, 30 something years. It's a Granny Smith apple from way back when. And it has a few apples. I did what they said and pruned this tree. And it didn't put apples on for 3 years, so I left it alone. And the year that I left it alone and didn't do anything, it started fruiting. So I like the lazy gardener view of that, which is just let it be. Then I have my comfrey patches along the bottom. I need to come out here and pull some of that, chop it down and feed it to my goats. These are just dumb trees. They were supposed to be pear trees, and this is all I ever get is a shriveled up pear every once in a while. And it's just not very conducive to my environment. But there's a bunch of comfrey around those two. That's a plum tree. And these two are horse apple trees. And then we can go down here and you can meet the girls. Hey girls. Hey girls. Hey Ellie. Hey Ellie. This is Ellie. There's itty bitty Oscar over there. This is Franny Freckles. Bernadette, Fern and Petunia, Edna, Lucy, Thelma, and Annie. She's my OG, old goat. She was my original, and she is around 11 years old. Say hey, Annie. Say hey, Annie. Say hey, Thelma. Hey, Lucy. He kind of tends to stay by himself sometimes. He's a loner. Well, thank you for walking around with me today and visiting my little farm. I will keep you updated on how everything's going and growing and harvesting, and when we make other things besides just tomato and green beans, which is boring, I will bring you along for hopefully jams and jellies and all of the things. Applesauce. I'm gonna do some dehydrating coming up soon with just like some vegetables that I have frozen, or frozen vegetables from the store. You can just go buy a bag and I will show you how to do that. Ground beef, dehydrating ground beef. I'm gonna do some videos on that and just random things like that. And so I thank you for hanging out with me today. God bless, and you have a great day. Come back again.